Sweet.
live. All right, so I am here with Bonnie. Hello, Bonnie. Good morning.
Hey, how you doing?
Great.
Fine,
All
thanks.
right, so we're going to be talking templates here. The launch of 26 just came out, and we have made the decision based on all the changes, and a big one being the elimination of the vault in the Stadium Creator. That we're actually going to do this bicentennial project, so 1976 on. It'll be the show 25. So, this is, my God, how many post-war was your first roster? Was that on 20?
21. So
21.
we 21 through 26 is where we're at now for
All right.
projects.
So
Yeah.
6 years. So this is our sixth year doing rosters. And one of the
Seven.
key, seven? One, two, three, four, five,
21,
yeah,
22,
six.
23, 24, 25. Yeah, six.
Bonnie,
Math.
Bonnie has
Jesus.
trouble with counting.
Yeah.
But we've done
Yeah.
probably 1,000 projects at this point. So,
Yeah. There we go.
but any good project starts with templates. And actually, when I first started and I wasn't hooked up with ATG, I wasn't doing this. And this is a huge time saver for anybody that is um, looking to maybe start doing some roster work on their own. So it starts really with creating the template player. There's a couple of different ways that we've done this, and we found. Do you remember which was it 2 years ago? Whatever it was, we found that the franchise was glitching out because we didn't have the right number of players, like minimum players in the positions.
Yeah, there was some, what was that magic number? I think back then we were defaulting to every position. Everybody was a catcher or something.
Right, right, right,
And then
right.
we had this, yeah. And you want to make
So
sure Yeah, you want to make sure the system wants to read you have enough freaking players every position to run a for just squad each team.
right. And if you take a
Yeah.
look at the lower right hand or the right side of the screen, you'll see the lowest column, if you will, or the lowest row in each column under these positions. You'll see, like the ones that are in red right now, it'll say 0-3. That 3 is the minimum number of players you have to have at that position.
Oh
So the
yeah.
system will let you know that, which is cool. So if you do see red, just know that you got to move somebody else to that position. So when we're doing big rosters like this, like so last year with Golden Age, we did a full 93 man, which was kind of insanity. This year with
Yeah.
Bicentennial, we're going to back it down a little bit. I think the number that we landed on was 78. And basically leaving single A as template players to leave some expansion room for for players being drafted and all that kind of stuff, because clearly that stuff in the 70s as compared to the late 40s was the draft was a much bigger thing, right? So a lot more guys coming in. So like, if you take a look at the Yankees here on this one we actually have created initially all starting pitchers and all catchers, right? Just to be able to kind of rip through and build the template. But,
Yes.
when we build out these templates, and I'll go to another team. So again, this is a 76 specific. One of the things that we want to do is, kind of get height and weight, kind of the average height and weight of players of that era, right? So when you guys did 27 and even with Golden Age, a lot of, smaller guys in that, especially middle infielders and things like that. But with a 70s project, that 6 foot 190 is probably a pretty decent thing there.
Yeah, I
And
think
then
the
go ahead.
older ones we do like 6 foot 180, something like that. Always
Yeah.
right around. Always keep it at 6 foot. It's a good
Yep.
point to switch that height up.
Right. So the idea is that when we're trying to, really, build these individual players out. So once we get them named, we're able to kind of make the adjustments to their look pretty easily without having to scroll through a million things. One of the things under the general that is just a suggestion is that you're picking a first and last name that have no audio. I'm kind of a spaz about this. I don't like hearing PA announcers just saying first names.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that when you pick, a first and last name here, so if you put Joe Random in there, The Joe is going to be there's going to be audio for that random. I don't believe that there is audio, so we just do no flaps. So with these older projects, a lot of guys didn't have the flaps on their helmets, so we just go no flaps, so we know that we've got the template player in. And then I usually start with the person's last name. That way, if there is audio, it'll tell you that there's matching audio. Then I'll allow for the audio to populate with the first name. Otherwise, I'm just going to say no. So if I go in here and I just
Bart.
type in Bill, it'll say, here you go. Would you like first name audio updated? Well, I know
Yeah.
that my last name is not in there. So here I'm just going to say no. It'll fill it on the screen, but I'm not going to just get that, single audio piece in there. We set our age there. We set our preferred number kind of high, so we're not screwing around with, having to change up numbers too much, when
Yeah.
we're getting
Saving,
everything
saved
set up.
clicks,
Yep, save clicks.
saved clicks, start in the
Um,
middle. Yeah.
Yep. And then service years. The show does something weird. Well, I guess it's not weird, but if you don't give them some number of service years, it's automatically going to put that big rookie R emblem or the
Yeah.
star rookie emblem. So if you add the service years here, then good. One of the things that I try to do, so if you're not familiar, there's a tool. Do you know where people can get the RBU? Is that in Operation Sports? Is there a link through that?
Traditionally there has been.
Yeah.
Um, as you know, I'm not an RBU expert, but I think
Right.
that's where it was usually located. I think they have a dedicated thread. I'll see if I
Right.
can find here.
Right. So, but Operation Sports, I mean, if you go in there and you look for the RBU thread, I'm assuming it means roster build utility or roster building utility.
Yeah, and it's been updated I mean, it's been going on for over a decade, and it's been in
Right.
there.
And we found that version 21 is actually kind of the best one in terms of, just weightings being right and ratings being right. But one of the things that I do is, again, this is probably a level of detail that you don't need to go into, but one of the things that I do is I take a look at what was league minimum salary back then, and I'll inflate that out to whatever the league minimum salary is today. So if
Yeah.
we know, so league minimum this year I think is around $800,000. So if a guy was league minimum back then, I'll put in 800,000 here. So I'm going to try to adjust everything into today's dollars is what it comes down to.
Nice.
So you can make those adjustments in the RBU. So we got that. And then the other thing that we, again, to save clicks in the motions and sounds, we want to go with something that is, kind of a, era specific looking stance. So this is actually Roberto Alomar, I believe. But that looks pretty decent for
Yeah,
1976.
that's a good pick.
And then,
Yeah.
wind up a little over the head stuff. A lot of guys were doing that. Or, you can pick somebody specific off of the former players, Jim Palmer or whatever. So you got that, and then the last thing is the equipment. So, a couple of years ago they added, and this is the last time they added anything for equipment, but they added. Oh, those are pretty cool. Um, they
Yeah, the
added
shoes aren't
these.
bad.
Yeah, they added these cleats here for this project. We're just going to go with these, 70s, 80s style cleats, which are pretty slick. And then, the ATG Touch for those Hall of Famers. Always going to do our gold laces
Yes.
for our Hall of Famers. So Jake is pretty good with this stuff. So he'll look, so for 76, not to get too much into this project, but like we've got some Japanese teams that are going to be part of this. He'll go
Right.
through and he'll take a look at that Japanese Hall of Fame too, or if we have some, players that are from Latin countries, see if they're, in those Hall of Fames, and they'll get gold laces too. So
And do his thing. Yeah.
yeah, do his thing. So get your templates created, right? Or your template player created. And then from there, it's a matter of going through and literally clearing out all of the players that are on the existing roster. Now we do post the templates in the vault, in the roster vault, so it'll be clean in there. But if you wanted to do a project for, say, I don't know, 2016, I was actually talking to Teflon about that the other day. 2016 would actually be
Right.
a pretty cool year for the Yankees, anyway. But if you wanted to do a 2016 project, you could use our clean template that's got a bunch of these no flap guys on the free agent list as well. you could use that as a base and then just kind of, again, update your thing, update your player template, and then just overwrite it. So I'm working on third baseman right now, so I'll just give you an idea what this looks like. So
Yeah.
we've got our third baseman there. So let's go to Boston, and this is our old no flap template here, right? So if I take a look at this guy, here's equipment, and this was for equipment for Golden Age. So we're just kind of building off of this Golden Age thing. So we don't want our guy to look like that. We want him to have a little longer, shaggier hair with updated equipment. So I've got my third base template all built. So I got to go to roster control, and I'm going to go to the team I'm working on, this manage import player, scroll over to my third baseman, um, and then I'm going to just import position player, and I'm going to hit my third base guy. So if I go over here now, there's my third base player that I just imported. So it is a lot of clicks. It's time consuming,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, it levelizes everything. And you see that these guys have overall ratings. We basically set, all the ratings dead in the middle. If you wanted to make them zero, you certainly could, because a couple of years ago they increased the speed of those sliders, so it's not. It used to take forever to go from 0 to
Yeah.
99. Now it's not so bad. So kind of matter of preference there. But at the end of the day, we want to get to a point where as we're getting started with a roster, you look at this all thing. Literally, the entire thing is template guys, and
Yeah.
you're off to the races. And you can start
It's gonna.
creating your players.
This is gonna be an all. We're gonna fill every slot we can on this project.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So hopefully,
Plenty of.
hopefully we'll have, a very, very large free agent list. Get some international players in there for sure. And, have those 15 slots, those single A players, excuse me, those single A players will be, template guys, again, for expansion through the draft and all that fun stuff.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's gonna be
But
Blue Jays, Mariners the following year. That's gonna be interesting to
yep,
see
yep, yep. So
how we
it'll be
navigate that.
It'll be pretty cool. But yeah, no, the template is definitely the first step in getting this thing set up. If there are, if anybody has any questions or anything like that, feel free to, drop any questions you have in the comments. Do monitor this stuff pretty regularly. Happy to answer that stuff. But Bonnie, any other words of wisdom as far as the template is concerned?
Um, no, I don't like the stuff at zero, so having finding that middle ground with the
Mm-hmm.
ratings to save clicks, and especially when we're doing a full 93 or whatever, 78,
Mm-hmm.
whatever the number of guys on the roster. Yeah, works for me. Third
Sweet.
baseman, Red Sox. Yeah, that'd be
Third
Butch
baseman, Red
Hobson
Sox.
probably.
Yeah. So I anticipate by the end of the day today. So what is today? March 14th. You will see, and I'll just slide this over to Bonnie and have him re-upload it, so everything is under the ATG underscore baseball
No, I got it. Yeah.
user
Mhm.
ID. Yep. We'll get it in there. So happy templating.
Yeah, that's be dope.
Alrighty. Peace.
Cool. Later.